So we're going to dive into my message here, long-term retention. So this has and still is a huge focus for me. I'm building the next level, but building it with the right people. And just quickly, I'll share with you guys, because I actually got a lot of these questions just even at this conference, just really what I do in the Northeast before I dive in here. Give you the quick rundown. So I started coordinating when I was at 50K in sales. It's actually pretty funny. My manager was like, hey, there's this thing called like the Philly Home Show. Just go run that. I'm like, cool, I got that. I got this. Philly Home Show at the time was a 10-day show. And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. It was like, I just got thrown right in, right off the bat. And that's actually when Tom Rastrelli used to work it. He would fly in to work the Philly Home Show. It was pretty cool. Then fast forward 10 years later, we were building the biggest event team in the region. Then my region manager asked me to take over another division, help train and promote a new coordinator for another division. Then that happened again for a third division, and then a fourth division. So I've personally actually coordinated 4 different divisions in my region. And then you flash forward to today, where I coordinate 0 divisions, which is great. But what I do, I held the role of regional coordinator. So I think we're the only region that actually does this. But basically what I do is help and support the coordinators in our region. So we do like one-on-one calls. We have bi-monthly calls. We do coordinator summits in our region. And I think we're the only region that does a coordinator DVM meeting as well. So we have all the DVMs to get together and all the coordinators get together in one room, which is pretty stellar. And so I say all this because everything I'm about to share with you is really why the DVMs want me to come and run their events. They want me to train their people. It's why they pay me to be a regional coordinator, because they see how I can build leaders and keep them around. If you look at the Northeast region, we have 6 divisions, and 4 of them I promoted and trained. They all came from my show team, which is really cool. I'm really proud of that. So let's dive in here. I want to actually ask a question. You can just shout it out. You don't have to raise your hand, actually. But why do people leave the event team? Why do people quit doing events? Lack of profitability? Yep. What else? Lack of opportunity. That's a good one. Any others? Bad policies. Yep. Bad leadership. Yep. We've all seen it happen. Yeah, for sure. Lack of organization. Doesn't like the culture, right? Now, question, how many coordinators in this room actually sit down every year and ask yourself those questions? A couple hands in the room. But if you guys think about it, that should happen every single year, right? If you're doing it for your personal sales, which you probably should if you're doing your goal planning right, when you're doing your personal sales, your personal goals, you ask yourself, okay, this is my goals. Now, what could go wrong, right? Because you got to plan for that. You should be doing the same thing for your event team. So how do you keep them around? I think number 1 is culture, right? Creating that culture. So we have some senior coordinators in here, some new ones in here. If you're a new coordinator, you want to ask yourself, what culture do you want to create? That's the easy one. Now, if you're a current coordinator, you got to make sure every year you're doing your gut check and make sure, is my culture in line with what I wanted? Is it in line with my core values and my mission statement for the team? So every coordinator usually does that when they first start, but this needs to be an annual thing. You really got to make something that people want to be a part of. When I was running the Jersey Showstoppers, reps all over the region, and even some across the nation would be like, oh man, I'm so jealous, I want to be on your team. Even at like push weeks, we would literally have them go up there, say their name, say where they're from, and they were like, I'm also from the Jersey Showstoppers. We were like loud and proud, it was awesome. So how to create that? Of course, it starts with you, but next is really your core team. For me, we called it our A team. Building that A team is so important. When you find someone that you want to be around with you, when you vibe with them, you can see that your mission statements and visions align, you got to lock them in. And not just for events. When I would see like a Dave Juba, a Josh Resizer, Brandon Wynn, I was like, nope, I'm going to be like your new manager now. Not just events, I would PC them, I would break down do their business plan for them, with them, It's not like if you really become like that person, that new manager for them, they get really locked into the team as well. Yeah. We would even do like all-day cap sessions. DMs would be like jealous of that. And those meetings weren't really just to talk about their goals. It's also to tie them into the team vision and make them a part and feel like some ownership of that vision you have as well. Like asking them what kind of leadership role do they see themselves on the team. Asking them great questions like, and being open to any criticism. What do you think we can be doing better as a show team? You really want to make your A team part owners. Give them some shares of the company, really. And you really also want to keep an eye out for those reps that are working really, really hard. Maybe aren't selling the most, but you can see their passion, you can see their drive, you can see they're trying really hard to gain your trust, and they're putting in the time and energy to help your team. I think about like Brandon Wynn. Every time we met, he would always be asking, how can I help? He put in like countless free hours helping build the New Jersey Showstoppers. Eventually, he became my co-coordinator, and then I was able to promote him to take my spot and run New Jersey. I think about Dave Juba. Same thing, countless free hours. Without asking, by the way, I didn't ever have to ask him. He would just create these amazing systems. He offered to run PCs with every new rep on the team. All that work turns out, now we were able to promote him to run the best division in our region, coordinator New York, or Connecticut, New York. And it's so great. He went from we were this, number 2 event team in the region, and he took it to number 1, doing over 1.5 this year. It's really exciting. I'm so proud of that. And same thing with Josh Resizer. So you always want to be thinking, whether you're at that moment or not, that you want to like step down as a coordinator. This talk is not about like replacing yourself right now, but you should still be working on that. Who is that next person? Who can you groom to take over your position one day? And as you can see, it wasn't just me thinking about my division. I was on a mission to have Jersey run our region. We're almost there, halfway. But really, if your focus is building a culture of like-minded people with similar visions and values, this will organically happen. You will build that culture that everyone wants to be a part of. And you will want the leaders on your team to be a better version of you. Every single one of the coordinators I promoted, they do the job better than I ever did. And I'm really proud of that. And just remember, like, long-term vision equals long-term retention. I'll say that again. Long-term vision equals long-term retention. Bless you. So the next step, the next point I have is events. So there's a couple different that fall under this category. Events meaning like even conferences like this, divisional conferences, regional conferences, national conferences. Of course, in-person team meetings. And then there's your team retreats. So the first one, this one's a brief one, but I think it's very important. Make your team go to every divisional conference, every regional conference, every national conference. I've seen so many coordinators like, oh, there's a show, we have to staff it, I'm gonna have them work that instead. And sure, that might be like a quick fix, but if you really have that long-term focus, we all know that if you get your team in front, like around all of us as much as you can, that's gonna help keep them around. They're gonna build lifelong relationships here. So even though that show could do 10, 20K, if you really are thinking about like that rep and keeping them around, get them to these events. I know it's mandatory for most teams. I know Brian's like, if you don't come here, you're off the team. You're not, yeah, key events, yeah. And this sounds kind of funny, but when you're with your team at events like this, kind of be like cliquey a little bit. Like walk around like you guys are like the shit, you know? When we were walking around our region conferences and stuff, people like want to be a part of our team. They see our vibe, they see our energy. Like make sure you bring that to every divisional and regional event. It helps with recruiting, it definitely helps with retaining. I'd even have like DVMs coming up to me, like, wow, I see what you're doing. Nice job. Like they recognize it. It's really cool. So that was an easy point. Just get your reps to every conference. Next is in-person team meetings. Is everyone back to doing in-person team meetings? Yeah? Good. Thank God. That's great. Because the power of getting together is just so powerful, as you guys know. I know that there's divisions out there that are still doing some virtual, and I get it, sometimes you have to, but at the same time, you know, it's too easy. It's so easy. It's kind of a little lazy. All you have to do is put like a nice t-shirt on, sit in front of a computer, and you're good. But the power in having people actually show up, get ready, drive to the event, or drive to your team meeting, committing to the next 2 to 3 hours, there's a lot of power in that. Now, if you're committing to having in-person meetings, great. But now you have to actually make sure they're worthwhile. Are your meetings worth coming to? Who here has been to an event meeting and you're just like, that could have been an email? Yeah. Make your meetings valuable. Make your team want to go to them. For me, I would just copy what my DVM would do. Like our DM and our DVM, when they would just have their regular team meetings, I would just do the same structure. Literally, I have an MC, I have opening comments, FYI, recognition, we have a skill-based talk, we have a motivational talk, we have closing. Like, it needs to be, like, make it legit. I have an agenda, it's printed out. Just like how we do it here. Is you just don't want to get lazy and just talk yourself for an hour or two, right? That's easier for you maybe, but is it really like powerful? Are you really giving that much value? So have structure with your meetings, provide value, delegate your team to help. I would always have a manager come do our closing comments too. Whether it was my DVM or any DM, get them tied in, get them into the meeting. And you want to get as many people tied in to those meetings. And then once my A team was pretty much established, I'd assign them meetings too. So like, it'd be like, Dave, you run this meeting, Josh, you run this meeting, which is great. The last thing I'll say on team meetings is we make them mandatory, just like the divisional and regional events. Of course, like emergencies happen, but if you're planning your meetings at a reasonable time, like at night when reps aren't doing demos, kids aren't in school, there's no excuse for them not to show up. All right, so the last thing with events would be the team retreats and just team bonding. Every team meeting, you guys should be doing a team night out. I'm pretty sure most of you do that, but everyone should be doing that for sure. And this sounds silly, but don't skip it yourself as the coordinator. I actually see that happen a lot. They'll be like, oh, Becker's got this, or they'll put it on someone else to run team night out. Show up to those things. That's where you build those relationships with your new guys. That's when I would pull aside the new reps. Hey, let's get 10 minutes. Let me get to know you a little bit. Use that time effectively too. Have fun with them, but really get to know your new guys. How many coordinators in here do team retreats? Dave flew in his team on Monday. Dropped a couple grand on them, which is awesome. I know, Brian, you guys do something, 1 or 2. At least, yeah, you guys do some pretty big ones too.
We go to Big State Park, rent out cabins, and go there.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah. And those things are so powerful. They're an easy thing to skip because they don't seem like they're that necessary, but don't skip them. If you haven't done one yet, do one. It doesn't have to be flying to another state or anything. Just do something. Like for us in Jersey, we would do annual beach days. It's like an hour and a half away. I think I got up to 8 in a row before COVID hit. 8 annual beach days. We do a holiday party. So every December we do a holiday party. Did Friendsgiving around Thanksgiving. I mean, like, get your people together. That's how you build the culture, at least that I wanted. I wanted to build people that wanted to be here for a long time. And now, after doing all that, like my A team, when I started, they're like my family now. They show up, they'll drive hours to come to like my kid's birthday party. Like they're like my family, which is pretty cool. But that's really how you get reps saying, I want to be a part of that. When other reps, like I know recruiting's down right now, but there's still a lot of reps out there. Like I hate hearing that like objection or that like, every coordinator's like, well, managers aren't recruiting, we can't recruit either. It's like, don't use that. That's a lame excuse. It's a good excuse, maybe, but it's actually pretty lame. because there's still a lot of Cutco reps out there. You just got to get them to want to be a part of what you're building. So to wrap this up, guys, I appreciate the time here, and I always offer, if anyone wants a call, if anyone wants some time, grab me after this breakout. But if you know your vision and continue to have those gut checks, focus on building your A team and pouring your heart and soul into them. Create in-person and worthwhile team meetings. And at least have 1, if not 2 to 3 team bonding experiences. If you follow these 4 things, I'm telling you, your team will organically double because reps will be drawn to you and they will want to be a part of what you're building. Next thing you know, you'll be sitting high watching your guys run the show better than you ever did. Thanks, guys.